best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RBG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. No lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slide ways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RBG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. jobs, slideways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Flatout Racing Network's continued coverage of Season 66 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Aero88 series as we roll into Texas World Speedway, Super Speedway racing here tonight with only 3 races left until we crown ourselves a champion. It's the 2024 version, so just about the most updated version of this Super Speedway that one can find, and talk about a wild card race down the home stretch of the schedule. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Jack Mitchell. Jack, we've seen a little bit of everything here these last couple of weeks, including last week some road course racing, some drift car racing, I guess we could say, at Burlington Raceway. Here tonight, only 20 point separation between the ongoing battle between Jeff Supta and Grant Wesley. Super Speedways tend to bring out a pretty big field. It's a sizable one here tonight, so a big chance for Grant Wesley to close that gap up in maybe the span of just one night.
That's absolutely true, but there's also a chance for somebody else who's still within this top 5. The top 5 in the points are really close together. You have Denny Carroll only 55 points back, Jeremy Jeffries 60 points back, Randy Wass 62 behind. So any of those guys could pick up a win here tonight in a super speedway race and make this points battle a lot tighter than just the top 2.
You mentioned about that trio of names, and Super Speedway here tonight, a normal speedway to close out the season at Walt Disney World Speedway, but then a short track that we're going to next week at Southern National Motorsports Park. If you're any of those 3, Carroll, Jeffries, Watt, is this the racetrack of the 3 you have circled to make up that ground?
It more than likely is. I mean, it's a wild card at a super speedway. Anything can happen. Anyone can really win the race. I would say that qualifying, I don't want to say qualifying doesn't matter, but it feels like qualifying is, it's not necessarily the end all be all, because you can, as long as you're in the field in a super speedway race, you can realistically have a shot to win it.
Absolutely. Well, people may have noticed that we came on the air a little bit sooner than regularly scheduled. That was on purpose. We are going to have a moment here where we are going to bring in racer Bob Dixon. There has been some stuff going on personally with him behind the scenes these last couple of weeks. We've been aware of it, but we've not known exactly how much we can divulge out of respect to his privacy. He asked for the opportunity here tonight to be able to join us in the booth, be able to let people know what exactly is happening currently with him. So we're going to take that opportunity right now. We're also going to bring in the series owner as well, the series administrator, Jeff Supta.
User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel.
All right, so we do have now both Jeff and Bob here in the booth with us. Welcome to the both of you. Bob, we kind of give a little bit of a precursor, but we're just going to open it right up to you. We know you have something that you wanted to say here publicly on the broadcast, so the floor is completely yours.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. 2 weeks ago, we got called in. My wife and I got called in for a special appointment with my cancer doctor, and just to whittle things down just a little bit, he says, Bob, all this chemo we're giving you, and the nuclear shots and the medication, we think is hurting you more than helping you. So we're going to take you off all of it and watch you for a few weeks and see how things go. And I said, okay, you giving up on me? He says, no, we're not giving up on you. We want to monitor you and see how your blood count goes because my hematoma count is 7.4, that's low, and my white count is 3.4, and that's very low. So they, I looked at him. I said, "Huh? You gonna give me a time frame here? How much time do I have?" And he said, 2 to 5 weeks, and that was a week and a half ago. And I said, "You're giving me 2 to 5 weeks to live?" He said, "That's our closest estimate." So we left and had a long, tearful drive home. And yesterday, the day before yesterday, we received a notice for another appointment to redo my blood again next week and to see where I stand. So uh, I've had too many people call me and talk to me and say, Bob, we know you've lost a lot of weight. I'm down to 117 pounds. So we know you've lost a lot of weight, but you look too good, you act too good, you sound too good to have 2 to 5 weeks left to live. And I said, yeah, that's what we're kind of thinking, but we don't know. It's in the Lord's hand, and we're going to leave it at that. And we'll just have to see what happens in the month of December. And that kind of brings us up to date.
Well, Bob, obviously we've known about the situation. We've, out of privacy for you, not wanted to divulge too much publicly here on the broadcast. We appreciate the update, and I'll tell you what, I think that I can speak for the entire broadcast team. I'm sure that all the drivers and everything, you are very much so, you and your family, in our prayers. We are hoping for the best on that upcoming diagnosis.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, we appreciate you giving us that update there, and Jeff, also appreciate you, reaching out here ahead of time to have us have this allotted time before the broadcast to be able to have this update.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And also, most people who don't game or sim race don't quite understand, but we're friends in here. I don't have friends in real life. And probably a lot of other people here don't, but these people I race with every week, I consider them friends and an honor to hang out with them. So,
Amen.
you're definitely a big part of RTG. Just we want you to know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, best of luck to the both of you on track here tonight. Again, appreciate the update there, Bob, and we are certainly hoping the best for you on that upcoming appointment.
Okay, Seth, well, thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Well, we will see
User
Bob
was moved
Dixon
out of your
out
channel.
on track in that legendary
User
number
was moved out of your
143. You can see up on the screen right now number of rides that he has driven. We'll be seeing that that car you see up on the top left there, the Aero88 car, on track here tonight. He's also driven on Wednesday nights in the Truck Series, on Thursday nights with the Xfinity Series, and Monday nights with the Next Gen cars. You see all four of them prominently featured right here on this screen. Shout out to Jeff Supta there for this screenshot as well. It kind of all comes back to when we had Robbie Nisus pass away, when we had Wiley Coate pass away. Most recently, we had David Cannon pass away. Jeff nailed it right on the head where he said, people here when they're not in the sim racing community, they maybe don't understand. And I'll go even further. Jeff called people here friends. People that I've met through the NR community with racing and everything, I've now had as what I basically consider family members. It goes to that point where, you feel you would go out of your way to help that particular person. It goes beyond the bounds of friendship.
It certainly does, and I mean, we've had conversations on here before about how it is basically like family. Like you and I, we've met all these people through this game that we're talking to on an almost daily basis.
We met
and
through
it, like,
offline. We didn't even race together.
Exactly. It just goes to show you, like, the reach of the sim racing community is massive. It goes beyond a whole lot of things that I don't necessarily think that anybody would understand if they're not inside the community. So. And that's not to say anybody can necessarily be shut out of the community. You're absolutely more than welcome to join anytime you feel like it. It's just, it's hard to understand if you're not part of it.
Yeah. And racing community is one thing, but there's also a whole bunch of other different, depending on like what hobbies are, interests are, where there are communities out there as well. So, that same kind of thing can apply there as it does here to our 2003 online community. So again, we are absolutely hoping for the best on the upcoming diagnosis, that upcoming appointment for Bob Dixon. It's kind of been a bit of a gray cloud here the last week and a half or so since I ended up getting the news and whatnot. Obviously now that everybody knows, hopefully we will be able to continue to add to the list of people that will be keeping Bob Dixon and his family in their thoughts and prayers here during this tough time. You actually see him right there rolling off of pit road. So we're going to try and do our best here to shift gears, focus on this race here tonight. Man, can you imagine if we had Bob Dixon in victory lane? That would be like a Cinderella story for the ages here tonight. You gotta think he's a sentimental favorite here this evening for sure.
Absolutely. It's going to be a super emotional feeling in victory lane if he does end up bringing that thing home. And, I think that just shows you like the resilience as well. The fact that he's going through what he's going through and he's still willing to take some time out of his night to get behind the wheel and join us. So.
Yeah, that's a huge thing too, because we've still seen him out there on the racetrack. We've seen him on Saturday nights, Thursday nights, Monday nights, here tonight. I mean, he's still getting behind the wheel, still out there racing, and still being competitive as well. So do not be surprised if you see him up towards the front in the closing stages of this race. So let's give a little bit of context to Texas World, because you and I were talking about this. We mentioned there are a ton of tracks that are on the schedule, and we followed the second half of this season that we had heard of and seen for the very first time. Texas World we know about a little bit. I think I said it was about 10 years ago I put tires to asphalt at this racetrack in a league race. Since then, it kind of fell into obscurity in the back regions of my mind, but it comes back to the forefront here. Very wide racetrack, flat out, but it will be interesting to see tonight just how multi-groove it is, because I've noticed a number of drivers coming off of turn 4 going right up against the wall, but most of them going down right against the white line through the corners. We'll have to see, just based off the track setup combination, how much forward progress can be made, specifically for those drivers that may not have come out on the top end of qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing too, is that I'm not necessarily sure how much these drivers have been able to run in groups while testing. A lot of these drivers have been running single car, just test laps and things like that to practice and prepare for this race. So when you race with a whole bunch of different people up to speed at the same time, that's when everything really changes. You can't really replicate that in any scenario. You can't even really replicate that with AI. So I'm kind of curious to see if some of these drivers are going to maybe adjust their strategies once the race actually goes green and they're racing in a big different pack.
So last week, when we were at Burlington Raceway, we saw Jeff Supta go to victory lane for the 4th time this season. He's currently on a 3-race winning streak, looking for 4 in a row here tonight. Last driver to do 4 in a row is the guy's trying to chase him down, that being Grant Wesley, who almost swept the entire month of October. 20 points separate those two coming into tonight, Supta over Wesley. Supta had the victory last week at Burlington Raceway with Wesley coming home in second, so he didn't lose a lot of ground, but he still did lose some ground. 3 races still to go. We'll see if tonight, if Wesley can close that gap up just a little bit further. Looks like Jim Gloud going to capture the pole position here this evening. And, we talk about this battle between Supta and Wesley. You mentioned about Waugh and Carroll and Jeffries still could stay mathematically. I believe we have a total of 20 drivers to take the green flag here tonight. So there's 15 other drivers out there. They don't care about the points. They don't care about the championship. They know there's a checkered flag on the line. They want it just as much.
It's the checkered flag or the steering wheel, and that kind of mentality can be kind of chaotic when it comes to a super speedway race, but I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. Everybody's going to have a little bit of fun here.
Gloud going to have the pole. He'll share the front row with Jeremy Jeffries, a former winner on the season. The two guys that are battling right now, 20-point separation, 4 wins each. Side by side in row 2 with Supta on the inside of Grant Wesley, Denny Carroll and Randy Waugh, top 5 in points. They're going to share row 3. Ron Hagelin, Doug Cady going to be row 4 with Rodney Sullins and Dave Melson in the top 10. We just spoke with Bob Dixon. He'll roll off 11th alongside Terry Bombard. Cy Jones and Demar Richard Martin, they're going to be back in the row behind. Looks like it's going to be Doug Hulick and Bobby Farrell. Then John Godfrey, Bob LaChance, new look on that number 51 car here tonight with the Alpine sponsorship. Alpine, I don't know how you would pronounce. I guess it depends on if you're a Formula One fan or not. And they will make up the remainder of what will be a 20-car field here this evening. 2 miles in length is Texas World, so a little bit shorter than Daytona, a little bit longer than Atlanta Superspeedway, and a lot more space, I think we could say, than Atlanta brings to the table as well. This track on the back straightaway, front straightaway, can hold them 3 and 4 wide. You could probably conceivably go 5, 6 wide. There's that much space in the corners.
If multiple drivers try to get to the same area of real estate at the same time, it could lead to some chaotic 3, 4, 5 wide action. I think we'll see 3 wide for a good chunk of it, but it just depends on how the drivers end up racing the track here.
60 laps of racing here this evening, as well as Jim Gloud and that Kyle Petty mellow yellow throwback gonna bring us out of turn number 4. Pace car has hit pit road. 3 races to go until the championship is decided, and we are racing at Texas World.
Inside going to be in line a little bit more than the outside on the start here.
Shorter way around the racetrack for sure. We'll have to see, as at most super speedways, if that middle line, that outside line here, gets the momentum down the straightaway, and it looks like that is kind of the case. Jim Gloud immediately moved up to block that momentum.
Now I'm going to go to the bottom. Now you can see all that space is definitely making itself known. All these drivers have plenty of room if they want to go up to the top few lanes here.
And you'll see that 72. He'll swap from the bottom up to the top, back down to the bottom. If we were at a speedway, a mile and a half, a mile racetrack, we'd be calling that aero blocking. That's not what he's doing in this case. In this case, he's trying to control the draft, control which lane gets the momentum, whether in the corners or on the straightaway. And his goal overall is to try and see if he can keep second place stacked up side by side, give him clear route of either the top or the bottom in clean air as he clips the apron there going into turn 3. That was something I was going to be interested to see, because I actually, when I went out and tested a little bit, the car wants to turn in a little bit sooner than you expect. Left side's clipped that white line that shoots you up the racetrack a little bit. May not necessarily lose the race car overall, but it will scrub off some speed.
Could be something that the drivers maybe know about. They may be keeping that in the back of their minds, and they see other cars do it. They want to be as careful as they possibly can.
Ooh, little bump right there before they got to the entry of the corner from Jeremy Jeffries to Jim Gloud. Keeps him out in front. Something else I'm noticing here in the early going is When I was out there running test laps, I was by my lonesome. I think my top speed was 176. These drivers are hitting upwards of 190. They actually just did hit 190 going into turn 1. So they're carrying a ton more speed. And notice how really nobody's able to wrap the bottom. They're kind of running in that lower dark gray all the way up into the upper dark gray there. With that extra speed, that's going to build up more tire heat in the right front, which is going to make things a little bit more difficult to wrap it right down against that white line.
Well, sure enough, both Supta and Wesley are in this lead pack up here. They've found different lines as well, so this heavyweight title fight continues.
And they know where each other are for sure. They were nose to tail last week at Burlington Raceway. Wesley led the first half of the race. Made a couple of mistakes that gave Supta the lead, and he led the second half of the race up to his 4th checkered flag on the season. Kind of interesting regards coming into tonight. Supta comes in with 4 victories, comes in the points leader, so you would consider him the favorite, but we don't really see him race super speedways all that often. Occasionally we'll see him on Thursday nights, but he doesn't run full time like Grant Wesley does. We see Grant on Thursday nights in the Tally Challenge. We see him Saturday nights in the Shake and Bake series, so he's got a lot of super speedway laps under his belt. Would that maybe give him a slight advantage over Supta coming into this race?
Possibly. I mean, super speedways, they're definitely a wild card regardless. It doesn't really matter what the driver is or what they're used to. It can, you know, there are so many different types of people that we don't normally see. As I think the 41 just clipped the apron there. We don't normally see, you know, you talked about earlier, we don't see this big of a field for a super speedway that often. So just so many unknowns when we go to a track like this.
Denny Carroll and Randy Waugh both looked like they drifted up a bit on the inside line of turn 3 that last time by. Supta was able to clear Jeremy Jeffries as they took the 72 of Jim Glaude 3 wide, and he's continuing to drop towards the back. Actually gets the wall right there off of turn 2.
I was going to say, maybe he's thinking about maybe dropping all the way to the back of the pack. That'll accelerate those thoughts probably.
It almost makes me wonder, you know, obviously this racetrack is flat out. It's a super speedway, but it doesn't have quite the banking like a Daytona or a Talladega. It's more progressive banking, more gradual banking as you enter in through the center of the corner. Almost makes me wonder if tire wear and that tire heat in the right front is going to cause these race cars in side-by-side formation to get tight, and I think that answers the question right there, as we had a quartet of drivers in 2 different areas of the field all simultaneously go up and get the outside wall off of 2.
Take a look at the replay, but I'm pretty sure that I saw at least 2 at the same time hit the wall, and then chain reaction led to them crashing in the middle of the field.
I just double-checked. We are still green. That was all deemed off the racing surface. So we'll take a look and see what exactly triggered this, and then come back to live action. Hagelin, Melson into the wall. Melson
there was another car ahead of them.
Kulik.
I didn't quite make out which one it was, but there was another car ahead of them that also got the outside wall. They kept it straight, but I think it was a chain reaction after that led to this.
I think that might have been the 111 of Ron Hagelin. We'll look from the helicopter cam. Watch the red car up ahead of who we're focused on.
Yep.
Grant Wesley might have almost brushed the wall there as well. A couple cars further ahead. And then Bobby Farrell and Terry Bombard further back getting together, and I think the Petty Blue 92 ends up actually getting the wall here, coming down into Terry. So yeah, that says to me the tire heat buildup in that right front is excruciating even at this point, 8 laps in.
And that could have repercussions on this race as well, because then you think about green flag pit stops. Maybe you're going to have more frequent pit stops when it comes to needing things like tires.
Bring it back to live, side by side for the lead. Give that lap lead to Supta over Jeremy Jeffries. Supta's got Denny Carroll in the rearview mirror helping him. Grant Wesley up top with Jeremy Jeffries. All 4 drivers involved in that incident on the back straightaway all left the scene of the accident, are still running, and all currently are on the tail end of the lead lap. Well, as soon as I say that, we're now showing Dave Melson, Bobby Farrell a lap down. Those drivers may have actually come down pit lane here. We'll update on indeed if they did come to pit road or not. If for no other reason, they may have come to pit road since this didn't bring out a yellow for a pass-through, because that is a rule here in RTG. If you cause an incident that doesn't bring out a yellow, in order to avoid a post-race EOL, you have to come down pit lane for a pass-through penalty. And it looks like Bobby Farrell did not take service, but Dave Melson did.
So by that logic, I would assume that Farrell was deemed the cause of that. Jeffries almost got into the back of Supta there.
And they've now caught Dave Melson, who is leaving pit road. Now he's going to have fresher tires. As mentioned, he took service. Let's see how much of a difference that makes with pack racing here, as he, Sullins, and Randy Waugh were 3 wide for a moment from turn 4 almost all the way to the start-finish line. Supta continues to lead. He's been out in front here for the past 5 laps. Jeffries has led 3 laps, and then 4 laps led by the pole sitter Jim Glaude. One may not necessarily think it, but lap-led bonus points could be very important here for both Supta and Grant Wesley in their current battle for the championship. Grant currently still with a goose egg in the laps led category.
Every point matters. You see Wesley there going to the inside of Jeffries. He's going to try and do everything he can to work his way around Supta for the race lead.
3 wide back here. It settles out to double wide. Randy Waugh was in a compromised position. He'll tuck in behind Rodney Sullins. Richard Martin looks to his inside. And now Wesley gets by Jeremy Jeffries. So now we're back with these two nose to tail. Shades from 1 week ago at the road course. Supta being hounded by the 88 of Wesley, but Jeremy Jeffries, 4th in points, right there with him as well. Looking to join Supta and Wesley as a multi-time winner this season.
Again, I talk about this group of this top 5 really in points. If any of them are able to find victory lane, aside from Supta and Wesley, it would thrust them right into the middle of this championship fight. There's not that much separation at all.
Whoa! Borderline slide job right there by Rodney Sullins, and we got drivers pitting already, 15 laps in.
Well, there you go. I feel like the tires might be an issue. With someone that hot pitting, Jeffries could be at risk.
I don't think tires are an issue anymore. They're going to change them. They used up every last little bit of rubber that was left on these tires right there with slamming the brakes for hot pitting, and Bob Dixon looks like he may have gone around here. Going to get himself turned back around, try and get into his pit stall. Richard Martin also in, the other Richard Petty throwback. Jim Glaude, the pole sitter. And here comes some more. Whoa! Gracious.
Denny Carroll
no!
with a fake out.
Denny Carroll going to get run over from behind by Dave Melson. And that all came down, I think, to some miscommunication on who was pitting, who was not. Caution is going to wave for the first time tonight. And I believe Rodney Sullins and Randy Waugh are going to have to pass through pit road. They could not take service. I believe the yellow flag had waved before they hit the commitment line. They would have gotten a penalty if they had taken service.
I do want to see that again. It could have come down to just a miscommunication problem, but I don't know. I don't know if he was trying to fake them out and maybe not pit, but the way he swerved out of the way, I think that makes me think maybe there was just a bit of an error there when it comes to who's pitting, who wasn't, like you said.
Yeah, we knew the 38 wasn't going to pit. He had been on pit road during the green flag run. Let's watch this again. Rodney Sullins, again, indicating he's coming to pit road, and I almost wonder if Denny was planning on pitting and getting on the brakes. You saw how it kind of locked up the front tires, started him migrating up the racetrack. I think he got on the brakes to avoid running into the back of Rodney Sullins. When that happened, it brought him up into the path of Dave Melson, who had no intention of pitting. So he was still in the throttle.
I don't know, almost want to take an onboard and listen and see if that was the case.
We'll do that right here on board with Denny Carroll. Let's take a listen.
He's still braking, yeah.
Yeah. So he was planning on coming in. Maybe he didn't expect the early lift there coming out of turn 4 by Rodney Sullins. And when you get on the brakes, the car doesn't go straight. Normally when you're at a progressive bank track, the car goes up. And he went up into the groove that Dave Melson was in. Show it once again from the helicopter cam, and you'll see the exact moment that he gets on the brakes. The car is just going to shoot up the racing surface. And John Godfrey in the 7-Eleven, you see him just be able to make his way by. He actually brought the field to the caution.
I think it just happened too fast for anybody to react. I mean, if Denny realized what was going on, but he had a little bit more time, maybe he probably could have gotten back on the throttle and avoided that. But at that point, it was just such a sudden lurch up the middle of the racetrack that he just couldn't react in time, and then neither could the cars behind him.
I think that just kind of, in a sense, shows how difficult a pit road this might be to get onto. As soon as you get down there on that flat onto the gray, looks like you're able to pretty much throttle up and then figure out exactly when to hot pit when you hit the commitment line. But getting off the banking to that flat looks like it may be an issue, especially when we have multiple drivers coming to pit road on the same lap.
A couple of drivers that looked like they were going to overshoot their stalls, possibly almost on hot pits. So I kind of wonder if maybe the speeding police got anybody.
Well, anybody that would have gotten a black flag, this caution actually would have saved them. Because now with it being under yellow, the black flag would be cleared. They could come down, serve their penalty under caution, just be given an EOL, drop to the rear of the field. Now some drivers, though, that did pit ended up losing a lap prior to that caution coming out. It looks like Ron Hagelin is going to take the wave around here under this caution. I'm not 100% certain, but we'll find out here in a moment who the two lucky dog drivers were. We're currently showing half dozen drivers a lap down. Terry Bombard, Bobby Farrell, Bob LaChance, Bob Dixon, Cy Jones, and Dave Melson. Looks like Farrell, pulling up alongside the pace car, is one of the two free pass machines. We'll see who the other one's going to be. It might be Terry, if the scoring is correct. But Demar is going to inherit the race lead. Jim Glaude is going to line up in second, and John Godfrey, who was one of those that stayed out and got the benefit of that caution to gain track position, he's going to restart in third with Chris Elliott right behind him in fourth. Those are two drivers that went that extra lap, and it paid off in track position here on the upcoming restart.
It certainly did. Now they find themselves at the front as Jeffries is going to pit again.
Maybe to top off, Jeffries would have restarted in sixth position here. But he'll peel off onto pit road for a little bit of extra fuel as lights are out on the pace car. So there go your lucky dog drivers, Bobby Farrell and Bob Dixon, as well as wave around driver Ron Hagelin. That's going to put 15 drivers on the lead lap when we go back green. LaChance, Bombard, Cy Jones, one lap down each. Dave Melson currently -2. So with those drivers pitting when they did, about 15 laps, and I would assume that that's more so for fuel than for tires, but I could be wrong. We're looking here that these drivers are going to have to come to pit road at least 2 more times before the conclusion of this race, if that number holds true.
I mean, I would certainly think tires might have to be an issue too, the way you were talking about that, how the right front was getting overworked, it felt like, when some of those drivers were making laps around here, and that right front continues to be a problem. I feel like you're going to see a lot more pit stops for tires, and that would mean maybe more frequent pit stops as well if they're having to come in so frequently.
What's also going to be interesting is the timing of those pit stops, because you see here kind of two sides of the coin Martin and Glaude, they pitted early, were able to stay on the lead lap when the caution came out. They cycle up to the front. John Godfrey, Chris Elliott, Doug Cady, they stayed out. They got the benefit of track position, being able to come down pit road and take on service with staying out that extra lap. With the timing of that yellow right in the middle of green flag pit stops, is that going to make drivers maybe a little bit nervous to be some of the first ones onto pit lane, in danger of maybe getting trapped the lap down? As major wheel spin for Jim Glaude there in first gear, hangs onto it, maybe a little assistance from the wall, but that could have been absolute calamity before they got to turn one. Good save.
If he turned the wrong way, that was going to be the whole field. Just managed to hang on to it, though.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that both Richard Martin and Jim Glaude did not come down pit road under that yellow. They had just been on pit lane, so they didn't need to come down and put on any fresh rubber. They would have been out there a couple of extra laps of pacing, so the tires would be cooler, which means they would have been slicker when trying to mash the throttle down. I think we saw the end result there for the 72. That was the 21 of Randy Waugh.
Keep talking about how Randy Waugh has had plenty of races as of late where he suffers some misfortune early on and then works his way back in to salvage a top 10, top 5 out of it. So far, though, Randy Waugh has been running, I would say, pretty consistently inside the front of this pack.
Been a top 5 car all night long since the drop of the green flags. They'll lose a couple of spots there down the back straightaway. Rodney Sullins and Grant Wesley going to move their way around. How about Doug Cady up here? Saw him a couple of weeks ago mixing it up at Spartan Speedway. Nearly was able to pick up a victory there, finished solidly in the podium. He's trying to run down Bobby Farrell with 3 races remaining. Of course, we've got the overall championship, but there's also the Challenger Championship here on Wednesday nights. 21 point separation right now. Cady trying to reel in Bobby Farrell. Got a surge right there by Rodney Sullins on that outside line. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the kind of runs you can get on the top side at like a Michigan or an Auto Club Speedway.
And you can get those runs on those really wide. I feel like this track, if anything, kind of almost reminds me of Auto Club in a way, with how it's 2 miles in length. It has the progressive banking, but there's pack style racing with it as well. And don't look now. Here comes Grant Wesley for second.
A lot of stuff happened between last week into this week on Thursday nights as we are now entered into the second round of the playoffs. Be sure to tune into our coverage of that tomorrow night, simulcast with Tarnation TV. But one stat I'm going to be talking about tomorrow night in terms of Grant Wesley and super speedway racing that is astonishing. Well, I shouldn't say astonishing. It is definitely noteworthy, though, is during the course of this season on Thursday nights in the Talladega Challenge, Grant Wesley has over 120 laps led. Next closest to him only has half that amount at around 60 laps. He is a lap leader, a lap dominator at super speedway, so it's no surprise to see him ahead of this hornet's nest coming back to the start-finish line.
Everybody's getting all spread out. I think some people are hoping that they can get a run on the bottom line and maybe try to gain contact there between Randy Waugh and
Bob LaChance in the 51. Little door-to-door contact. It was square, so it didn't spin the 51 around. Certainly moved him up out of the groove there. Close shot by Doug Cady on the nose of the Chevy Nova of Rodney Sullins. Seen a lot of checkups going on right now.
I'm going to say just a bit of a chain reaction there. Everybody able to keep it straight, though. I mean, oh boy. You don't get a moment to breathe in this pack.
I don't know if there's a, well, it's not a yellow line here. I don't know if there's a white line rule at Texas World Speedway or not. I mean, as you said, you kind of liken it to Auto Club. I know that there's no out of bounds there or Michigan, so I don't know if they treat this as a super speedway race or as a 2-mile speedway race in terms of the ruling of that. I don't think you'll see anybody really by choice venture down to the apron here on the straightaways,
No.
because that would really hurt their entry for turn 1.
I mean, tagging that apron too can cause them to kind of shoot up into the wall, so I don't think anybody would try to navigate to the apron unless they feel like they absolutely need to get out of the way of something, and that's the only route they can take.
Couple cars a little high there off of turn 2. Denny Carroll and Jeremy Jeffries almost brushed the wall. And remember, it was around this point into the run last time that we saw a number of drivers go up and pancake that outside wall off of turn 2. Field got a little bit spread out after that. Oh! Contact! Sullins around after getting clipped by Richard Martin. He's going to get it straightened out, but others are not. Sullins is up and over after a late hit from Bobby Farrell.
I'm honestly surprised that didn't take out more cars. That was right at the front of the field.
Chris Elliott, Dave Melson up there against the outside wall. Bob LaChance also collected up, so about a half dozen drivers involved, and a wild ride for the Black Rifle Coffee Chevy Nova of Rodney Sullins. I'm amazed that thing is still driving away under power.
That's crazy.
And as you said, that was right up at the front. That was a battle, I think, side by side for the second position. Correction, third.
Very easily could have been so many more cars involved in that.
You see the 43 starts kind of riding up the track. Rodney coming off the wall a little bit. We talk about at speedways, that gray area where drivers seem to want their cars to share the same piece of real estate. Kind of looked like one of those moments right there, but had catastrophic results for the 38.
That it did, and I mean, they kind of split across the racetrack. One car went to the top, one car went to the bottom. I think that's how a good chunk of cars that were between the two managed to work their way around this wreck, but obviously everybody else not so lucky. Oh, I think it was Milson.
Chris Elliott got into that Sullins and Farrell contact.
Yeah, Milson in the 038, he almost got by it. He just got tagged and got stuck up in the outside wall.
See about the 51 of Bob LaChance, the 38 of Dave Melson. Oh, LaChance just gets clipped. Everyone able to split him on the straightaway. There's Sullins entering into view after he went for that tumble. Let's find the 038 of Dave Melson.
Nearly made it through.
I feel like the last couple of weeks, maybe not last week at Burlington, but certainly at Spartan and American Raceway, I feel like we overused the word clipped. Drivers just barely getting involved, getting clipped in those left and right rear quarter panels.
And when you're going at such a high rate of speed, sometimes that little tap is all it takes to send the car around.
And you want to think when a car is out of control and spinning that the drivers stop driving the race cars. They are still working the wheel. Watch this with Richard Martin. The contact between him and Rodney Sullins. 360, grab a gear, keep going.
Impressive stuff. And it's important to be able to do that because, like you mentioned, he can keep it going. He doesn't suffer that much damage in this crash. I mean, he's going to be up pit road for some repairs more than likely, but nothing that should take him out of the race.
And in case people are wondering, when a car is blowing over, yep, they're still driving the car then too. Except then the car's a plane, so your controls are inverted.
You're clear for takeoff. You're grabbing the controls in the cockpit.
So second caution of the night. We're now past the halfway point. Guess we could currently classify that one as the big one in terms of super speedway racing. At least 7 drivers collected up in it. Looks like Rodney Sullins currently the only driver out of the race after he took that wild tumble, that wild barrel roll down almost the entirety of the front straightaway. He's going to finish, it looks like, in the 19th position here tonight. 19 drivers took the green flag. Terry Bombard and Bob LaChance are right now scored the first 2 drivers 1 lap down. LaChance was involved in the wreck. Terry Bombard was not, but it looks like the 51 still is going to get the free pass here along with the 10. And that will put us with 16 drivers back on the lead lap of 18 drivers still running. Cy Jones, Dave Melson going to be the only 2 other drivers currently not on the same lap as the race leader, which will be Grant Wesley when we go back green. And this caution puts us now at an interesting point, because if we stick with that 15 laps per pit stop, this puts us right on the mark of 1 pit stop to make it the rest of the way.
It does. These drivers probably are maybe feeling like that's the next milestone in the race. Maybe just try and take it easy until you get to that part where you can pit one more time and make it to the end, and then from there, all bets are off. I say that, but then again, for the most part, all bets are off when it comes to a super speedway.
Rodney in our chat after that wild ride said he took it behind the wall, literally.
Yeah.
That thing was still under power. Rodney, you know what you should have done? And I'm saying this right now. Jack and I were talking about this before we came on the air. I'd forgotten this about Texas World Speedway. We saw drivers doing it during practice and happy hour. If the winner of this race doesn't take the victory lane jump in celebration, I'm going to be disappointed. That's what you should have done, Rodney. You should have sent it to space off the jump there. Isn't there like when they're training for space, isn't there some kind of a simulator they put them in that they kind of feel like they're in a washing machine? That's what he was in when he was going down the front straightaway.
There's like the gyro thing.
Yeah.
You sit down and it like you just rotate in like every direction imaginable, and then it's like it's supposed to get you used to like the G-force or something like that. That's good preparation.
I think that's what he was experiencing in that barrel roll.
Good preparation for race car drivers to know what it's like to blow over.
Yeah, for sure.
Almost wonder if any race car drivers actually do it.
Honestly, I would not be surprised. I don't know if they would do something as intense as what the astronauts do, but I think they might do something similar. Green flag back in the air here. Second restart of the night. Grant Wesley and Denny Carroll get us back underway. With Randy Waugh, Doug Cady, John Godfrey. That was your top 5. Supta restarted in the 6th position. 5 spots behind Grant Wesley. A race victory tonight for Grant Wesley would be huge in 2 regards. 1, kind of get one back from last week when he led the first half of that race at Burlington. But 2, kind of counter some of the bonus points that Supta's been able to get for his race victories the last 3 weeks.
Definitely. I mean, when you're right in the thick of this championship battle, but you're also able to basically punch back at your opponent, that's a big thing here. And it can mean a lot mentally, too, especially when you look at what Supta has said in his interviews over the last few weeks. He's talked about how he feels like he has not secured this championship. I mean, he's only 20 points ahead, and he said it himself before. If he has 1 or 2 bad races, Grant Wesley is right there ready to pounce.
Let's take a listen to just how much throttle input these drivers are able to have making their way around this 2-mile racetrack. Let's go on board with Jeremy Jeffries and take a listen. A lot more breathing on the throttle than I would have initially thought, and I don't know if this is just a visual for us or if the drivers are feeling it, but this must be a pretty worn out surface. It looks repaved, but I've noticed a couple of times that one kind of jumping up in the air. Watch right here as he hits the back straightaway. You're gonna see it right about here. One hop there, And then a second hop there. I don't know if they're feeling that upsets the race car or not, but we can certainly see it on our end.
I was not sure about that hop until I saw it there, but that's a great point, and that only it's further reason for me to like this track to autoclimb. At those bumps on the backstretch there.
Something we're probably going to have to ask one of our top 3 finishers here tonight. See if that's something that they actually experience in the race car, if it's just something that we're seeing visually here. Who knows? Maybe they're so laser focused with what's going on around them, it's kind of an afterthought. They don't even really notice it. Denny Carroll with a look to the inside of Grant Wesley. Can he keep it hooked to the bottom is going to be the question. He can. Now looks for the drive off the corner, and he's got some drafting help here through the corner. Help from Randy Waugh. He'll draw alongside even, but now the question is, can he keep this momentum up in that shallow entry as they make their way for turn 1?
Jeff Supta has caught Grant Wesley on the top.
And he is all over his back bumper. That's one of the tough things about... Oh, a championship race in a super speedway as bumpers locked up a little bit there. Both the 41 and the 88 drifted down towards the apron, and we are 3.
They were 4 for a brief moment, I think.
Oh, man, this is going to be tight up off the corner.
Randy Waugh definitely in the most trouble. I think some contact was made on the top between Katie and Supta there.
I think they're trying. I think Katie might have been moving up a little bit higher there to give room to the 21. They knew he was in a predicament there, and they were trying to give him all the leeway possible to be able to tuck into a safe spot. Almost made some contact with Supta. They're off of 2.
Tell you one thing for certain, nobody wants to be the meat in the middle of a 3-wide sandwich.
No, especially with how much movement, how much dancing these cars seem to be doing right now. A combination of the aero as well as the that right front tire heat causing that aero push.
I mean, you saw how much Randy Waugh was wiggling in the middle of this, and now you got John Godfrey in the middle of one as well.
Near contact between him and Doug Cady. He's got Doug Hewlick to his inside, so a Doug sandwich there momentarily for Godfrey. Still caught in the middle as Hewlick clips the apron down beneath him. Starts riding up the racetrack. This is where I get the most nervous with 3 wide.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's why, right there. Because you start to lose the nose.
Off of 4, you start to lose the nose. You're in the middle of everything. I mean, you just feel like that car is going to turn around any second.
These drivers, they're fighting each other, but they're fighting their race cars just as much, if not more so. But we avoided near calamity up here at the front a couple of laps ago, right here on the back straightaway when both Denny Carroll and Grant Wesley got together a little bumper grab. They both managed to save it. Katie loses the lead, drops back to 4th. Wesley goes to the point. Big hits into the outside wall for both the 11 and the 41. That's the first time we've seen that tightness off of 4 drive drivers up into the fence. Oh, and Ron Hagelin's around in the back, along with Terry Bombard.
That should bring out a yellow.
It does. Caution is going to wave.
And I feel like a lot of the drivers at the front of the field are kind of happy that that yellow flag came out when it did. At least I would assume so, because that was just short of what we talked about when it came to the pit stops. We were thinking right around 15 to go, I think, is when we were probably thinking they would make their pit stops. But now we're just a little bit short of that mark.
And now brings up the big question now, as I mentioned, was that pit stop we saw 15 laps into a run, was that for fuel or was it for tires? If it was for fuel, more than likely this upcoming pit stop's going to be the last one of the night. But if it was for tires, let's say we get a caution 10 laps after the restart, I don't think you're going to see people stay out. I think they're all going to come back down pit road for fresh rubber.
Yeah, I think this pit stop cycle that we have here under this yellow flag is going to be really telling.
So look at what brought out the yellow flag. Another 3 wide towards the back of the pack. And
they were just about 4 wide in front of them.
Yeah, they were. Doug Hewlick, maybe a little contact with John Godfrey. That sent him up into Terry Bombard, who in turn sent him up into Ron Hagelin. Let's look at that from the aerial view. That near four wide you're talking about, here it is yeah, it looks like Hewlick
nobody
a little
could.
tight there into the entry of the corner.
I don't think they were really fighting over the same piece of real estate or anything like that. I think just too many moments of cars slipping a little bit, losing the nose, and nobody could quite recover in the middle of that pack.
And again, as well, I know obviously we've documented, we've seen it visually. These drivers are fighting the race cars, but I have noticed a couple of times on entry to corners and on exit of corners, there's been a lot of pinching going on here, and I kind of feel like that's a kind of a risky thing to do when especially you've got cars to the inside that are pushing up that quarter to half groove, and that might have been a case right there as well. We talked with Bob Dixon before they took the green flag here tonight. He gets some TV time here as he will stay out and lead a lap. Valuable bonus point for him. Looks like Terry Bombard's also staying out an extra lap here. Both he and Ron Hagelin, who were involved in this yellow flag, both at one point were a lap down. Terry got the lucky dog. Ron Hagelin got an early wave around. And this caution is going to put Cy Jones and Dave Melson, I believe, both back on the lead lap. So all 18 of our remaining drivers will be back on the lead lap for this upcoming restart.
That just means more people start to suddenly feel like they've got a shot to win this thing, or at least try and work their way up to the front. It's not going to be an easy ask, but you definitely get a little bit of a rejuvenation when you get the news that you're back on the lead lap.
Grant Wesley won the battle off of pit road, and something I noticed here about this particular racetrack, as opposed to not all, but most super speedways, is it looks like the pit stalls are kind of mixed up. Obviously, I think the pole sitter, Jim Glaude, got the #1 pit stall, but I did notice there, for a brief moment, Jeff Supta, who I think qualified in 5th, he had the first pit stall at the entrance of pit road. He didn't have the 5th pit stall from exit.
Just creates even more complications on pit road.
Right? And makes it important to know where your stall was in happy hour, too. Can't by default just think, all right, I qualified P6 or P7. I've got a pit stall down towards the beginning, or I qualified latter half of the field. I got a pit stall closer towards pit road entry. This next time by, we will be at 15 laps to go. So we are assuming we are within the window to make it on fuel, and more than likely, barring a caution coming out at a certain point between now and the checkered flag, more than likely the last time we will see drivers on pit road. So with that being said, do we see these drivers settle in just a little bit to preserve the tires for the long run, or are all bets off? Is this the moment now where the pay window is open and everything that we got to use it up right here?
Time is certainly going to tell.
See Cy Jones, Dave Melson up there on the outside line. They're going to get their laps back. Actually, a correction on my part. Cy will get back on the lead lap. Dave is 2 laps down, so he will actually get one of those 2 laps back. He will still be -1, so we will have 17 of our 18 drivers on the lead lap. Melson will be the only driver in a future lucky dog position should we get any other cautions between now and the end of this race. Looks like we've been getting, what, about 3 laps of caution each caution period?
I don't feel very long.
Yeah. So, point of no return in this race would be looking somewhere around completion of lap 57. Next flag would end the race, whether it be the caution or the white flag. Again, a reminder, tune in tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we'll be bringing you the first race of the round of 8. Some interesting stuff took place during the course of this week. Some post-race penalties, which kind of shook up the 8 drivers that are moving on to battle for the championship. We'll be covering that all simulcasting with Tarnation TV and Blaine Donlin tomorrow night. Capping off the race week on Saturday night, as we will be bringing you coverage continuing the regular season of Season 6 of the Talladega Nights Shake and Bake Series. That will also be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see you guys back here next Wednesday night with 2 races left to go in the Rolling Thunder Gaming Aero88 series. We will be bringing you short track racing from Southern National Motorsports Park. That will be our appetizer, if you will, to the main course at Walt Disney World Speedway for the finale next Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on FRN. 14 laps to go officially here as Wesley and Jeffries get us back under the green.
I think that is actually going to be in 2 weeks. It looks like we have next week off for Thanksgiving. What the
And
schedule
you
is
are
telling me.
correct. I knew Thursdays were taking the off week. I did not remember that Wednesdays were taking the off week. So yes,
Yes.
you can join us next Wednesday night. You can tune in. There probably won't be a broadcast, but you can certainly click on the FRN link and watch some past broadcasts if you want to. A great way to spend your Wednesday night.
If you want to get caught up on the season so far, that would be a great time to do so.
There you go. Everybody wrapping the bottom while they can. Oh,
cars
Jim
to the
Glad
wall.
into the wall. Gets Chris Elliott. Elliott catches some air. All 4 tires land back on the racing surface as Melson slides in. Oh, big hit
Oh my.
for Doug Hewlick.
That's a huge hit for Hewlick to be spinning around the way he is, and he immediately hit the retire button, it looks like, or at least teleported back to pit road.
And we are at race back here with less than 15 to go. Wesley just barely going to edge out Denny Carroll coming back to the caution flag, but at least 3, 4, 5 drivers there on the back straightaway swept up into this one. A couple of hard hits and a couple of wild rides. There is Melson in the 038. Jim Gloud was the first car I saw get out of shape. And there is the car that I saw him clip, the 09 of Chris Elliott. See him figure out exactly what happened here out of turn 2. Pole sitter Jim Gloud may have gotten up into the wall. Ooh, he kind of got run out of room there in a 3-wide formation.
Tough when you're 3 wide and they're that close, pinched up against the wall there.
Pretty sure the Frito Bandito on the side of that race car was fearing for his life as he took to the skies. Here's a look at the hit by Doug Hewlick in the 23 car right behind this, and gets redirected down after the hit to the outside wall, and right there.
Bang. Big hit into the corner of the back of the car. You can see the way it's folded in. I think he's done because we would have seen him teleport back pit road, but the camera just stopped, so I think he is out of this race.
He is indeed done for the night. And the tough thing for him there in that situation is that the back straightaway, the inside, is not paved. It's grass, so you can be on the brakes, but it's normally not going to slow the car down nearly as much as tires gripping asphalt were, and that's why that hit was as big as it was to the back end of his machine. Which is kind of interesting because if I recall correctly, I mentioned that this 2024 version is one of the more updated versions. I believe that an older version of Texas World that I ran actually did have a paved infield, so surprising that they brought the grass back here on the newer version. Saw Bob Dixon, a little bit of a pinball there, but he was able to make his way by unscathed. And it does not look like this was a caution timed worthy enough to draw the race leaders to pit road. So we will get a restart with less than 10 to go, and they'll have about, what was that, about full green flag lap on their tires here for the upcoming restart. Well, actually, 2 green flag laps because they raced back to the yellow flag. Grant Wesley has led 22, about to be 23 laps so far here tonight. Next closest to him, Jeff Supta at 7. Correction, 8, I should say, for Richard Martin. Then 7 by Jeff Supta. It's like 4 laps led for Jim Glaude, who started on the pole, and then 1 lap led each for Denny Carroll, John Godfrey, Bob Dixon, Terry Bombard, and Rodney Sullins, who is out of the race along with Doug Hewlick. This should put Dave Melson back on the lead lap with the lucky dog, so all 17 remaining drivers should be on the lead lap here for this upcoming restart, which is fast approaching our final restart of the night as we're getting close to that point of no return mark.
You're Grant Wesley right now. I think you want to have the restart of your life. I mean, you got Supta right in your rearview mirror, but you know that the chance that this could be the last restart of the race is not 0.
And the tough situation for Grant is having Supta behind him. You know that you could finish ahead of him by 1 or 2 positions, gain some points, but that's only 1 or 2 positions. You want a chunk of ground between you and the 11 here to be able to close up that 20-point gap as soon as possible. So I think for the 88, it's hope the 11 runs into trouble. For the 11, it's at least keep the 88 within sight. We've seen drivers heading into the corners at 190 miles per hour plus. Fastest lap of the night so far laid down by Bob LaChance, 38.498. Just a tick under 187 miles per hour lap average. Green flag in the air and more restart troubles. That time it was the 41 of Denny Carroll, and that's the same thing we had happen with Jim Glaude in a previous restart, who was on the outside of the front row. What if there's something up there in that second groove that's causing issues with wheel spin?
Maybe. I mean, we've seen it happen to multiple drivers, but here we go. Wesley and Supta, they're going to be 1-2 here.
3 wide behind them there, a couple of rows deep. Carroll's in the middle, Dixon's in the middle. And up front, Supta shows the nose to the inside of the left rear quarter panel of Wesley going into 3.
Jeremy Jeffries wants to say in this as well. 4th in the point standings, and that was kind of a big implication because Denny Carroll's 3rd in the point standings, and he dropped back a lot after that restart problem.
Randy was back around P7, I believe, that last time by. As they fan out through 1 and 2. Wesley taking that higher line. It's going to pay dividends for him. It's actually going to allow him to tow Jeremy Jeffries around Supta into 2nd place. Supta now got his hands full with Doug Cady in that 3rd position.
Certainly want this green flag run to be your best, but at the same time, you want to kind of pace yourself. You know, you're not going to win the race on this lap. You want to make as big as a move as you can, but it has to be at the right time. You don't want to do something that's going to take out everybody else when you're trying to just make a pass to gain 1 position.
Bob LaChance right now in possession of the Hard Charger Award. If he can hang on to where he's currently at, P6, he started shotgun on the field. Now moving to the outside, the right rear quarter panel of Richard Martin for the 5th position. Supta trying to do all he can to reel in the top 2. Saw him go quite wide on the entry of turn 1 that last time by, maybe to try and generate a run off of 2 and down the straightaway.
It could be working. I was going to say for a moment, it felt like maybe he was playing defense instead of trying to gain positions. He was at the very least trying not to lose them, but that was a great point. I think he's making that run work because it's forced Jeffries up to the higher side.
Trying to get to that left rear of the 1, and he'll do so here down the back straightaway. Going to have a push, going to have some help. Oh, nope, he actually tucks back in line behind the 1. That camera was a little deceptive. I thought they were side by side, but Jeffries had him cleared. Now he'll pull away from Supta, try and use this surge to mount a charge against Grant
Oh,
Wesley
boy.
for the race lead.
Doug Cady almost got the wall. He barely held onto it.
Chance and Martin still side by side for 5th place. Big send in by the 51. Can he keep that momentum up out of turn 2? It looks like he can. I thought for a moment he was going to get alongside of Doug Cady for 4th, but he'll stay locked up with the STP Pontiac. As the top 2 opened up a little bit of daylight back to Supta and Cady. See if they can close that gap back up as we come around here. Whoop, near contact back there between Martin and LaChance. We come back around here, 4 laps to go from Texas World.
All over the back bumper of Supta right now. At some point, you maybe think he wants to get Supta in the middle of the racetrack so that he can try and move high or low.
It's almost like 2-car tandeming right here. The top 2. Then 3rd and 4th, little late bump into the corner there by Jeremy Jeffries, and I saw him doing that earlier on in the race too. I wonder if that could be a motive of sending the car in front of him into the corner a little faster than they want to go, and maybe sending them up the racetrack to open up the inside line to make a move.
I was going to say too, I almost wonder, does Jeffries even really want to make this pass right now, or does he want to wait until 2 or 1 to go to try to make that move on the inside or the outside? He's going to go for it now.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem here is, we're getting to the point where the tires are starting to go away again, about 7-8 laps into this run. If a caution comes out, he may end up waiting 1 lap too long. So he tried making the move there off of 2. It did not pay off. Now he's gridlocked with Supta for 2nd place, and this is exactly what Wesley wants to see in the rearview mirror, because now he can control the respective lines.
And Supta's going to lose a ton of ground, and that might matter if he's not able to get it back. We only have 2 laps left to go.
Last time by, he crossed the line in 6th, did Supta. And he's getting freight train. More drivers looking to his inside here off the exit of turn 2. Looks like now he's around P7. 1.5 laps to go, about a car length the gap from Wesley to Jeffries. Does Jeffries have anything for Wesley? Does he have enough tires to try and make a move? Big run here through 3 and 4.
Huge run. He might bump him. No, he's going to go right to the inside, and he's got all the momentum in the world right now. Wesley doesn't quite have the real estate to make that block. We took the white flag.
Pinching him down. Jeffries going to try and send it in here. For Wesley, there's too much to lose.
We're getting it back.
Terry Bombard and Supta was in that. The points leader was in that. A wreck on the final lap as Jeremy Jeffries clears for the race lead, headed for 3. The caution's out. It does not matter. We took the white flag and are racing back. Jeremy Jeffries by over a car length. Clean racetrack ahead of him, and the checkered flag waves. It's his 2nd win on the season, as he will pick up the victory tonight at the Texas World Speedway.
Absolutely massive implications for the championship fight as well, because you said Jeff Supta was involved in that last caution. He was already losing a ton of ground to Grant Wesley, and I feel like at the end of it, Wesley was more determined to hold on to P2 than really fight for the race lead.
We're still waiting for scoring to let us know what Supta crossed the line in, and it looks like he crossed the line in the 15th position. So just in spots alone. I'm trying to remember, I believe that this series uses the current NASCAR point system. I mean, just in, with Wesley finishing 2nd, that's a difference of 14 positions, 14 points.
Oh, here he goes.
Oh, here we go. I was going to say, this needs to be the celebration. Heck yeah. Oh, looks like some others preempted him there. It's the only way to celebrate a victory here at Texas World, when you got to jump.
It's a great result for Jeremy Jeffries, but my brain, again, I keep going back to what Jeff Supta kept telling us during those last few post-race celebrations in Victory Lane. He keeps telling us about how he feels like it's not over until it's over. He knows that he needs to get as good of a finish as he possibly can, because 1 or 2 bad races, and just like that, Grant Wesley's ahead of him in the points.
Here's a look at it. This was through 1 and 2. They had already taken the white flag, and it's like John Godfrey gets into the back of Terry Bombard.
Oh, man.
Just gets souped in the left rear quarter panel.
Another clip.
Just wrong place, wrong time. Oh, and somebody decided to hit the reset button. We're doing it all again, folks. All right. Another 60-lapper coming up. Unfortunately, I believe that that's going to not allow us to be able to show you your finishing results. So look at the top of your screen there. What you see scrolling is going to be the finishing results here for this race. We'll check and see if it can scroll one more time here. If not, then we will take it into the FRM post-race wind-down. But we do know that the podium finishers that we'll be talking with here, yep, looks like the timer reset. So we'll take it into the post-race wind-down here now. We will be talking with our podium finishers. Jeremy Jeffries picking up the win. Grant Wesley second. He was in a bit of a photo finish there with Richard Martin, who's going to bring it home in the 3rd position. And let's see if we can get a hold of Demar right now, bringing it home solidly on the podium tonight at Texas World.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Richard, it's Jack and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
A great race for you here tonight. A little bit of strategy that gained you some track position that you were able to maintain for the second half of this race as well. Great battle there in the closing stage. You actually had them stacked up side by side in front of you. It looked like you guys were really struggling out there, specifically with the tires, but was there maybe some kind of a scenario that you saw if the two of them got together, it might open up a lane for you to maybe take them 3 wide, snipe this victory?
Well, that's happened to me before a couple times. One of them was California, and I was 3rd. I didn't think I had any way of winning it, and it was a tire race. So the 2 leaders got together, and I went by for the win. So you never know. That could have definitely have happened, but it didn't. And we'll just take a 3rd.
Certainly looked like it was a tire race here tonight. One thing that we were kind of wondering, we saw a number of drivers, including yourself, end up pitting, we'll say somewhat early to everybody else, but around the lap 15 mark. Was that out of necessity for fuel, or was that maybe more so for tires?
I think it might have been more so for tires, kind of 50-50 type thing. Just wanted to kind of pit when some other guys pitted so I could, I didn't want to come out by myself.
Well, great run for you here this evening, able to keep the car clean as well, but it seemed like just about everybody at one point or another were in a bit of a compromised position. We saw these cars dancing around out there, whether they were getting loose on entry or tight on exit. Just how white knuckle was it being in those type of situations?
It's white knuckle for sure. You got to be careful if you're low, because if you hit that white line, you're going to go up and hit somebody, which I did get myself in trouble at one point and caused one incident. So I had to be kind of careful that the last go around. So.
Well, a great run for you here tonight, bringing it home solidly on the podium in 3rd place here tonight. Congratulations on a great race, Richard. And before we let you go, we'll give you the floor here for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Well, thank you for broadcasting. I really appreciate that. And I'd like to dedicate this to Bones, David Cannon, and he helped me tremendously with my racing career. And most importantly, I want to dedicate this to my dear loving wife who passed away 6 months ago, roughly now. In a few more days, it'll be 6 months. So 40 years of marriage. So I'll dedicate this 3rd place to my wife.
Well, Richard, we appreciate taking the time to talk with us here. Congratulations on the great run here tonight at Texas World.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Let's see if we can now get a hold
User
of the
was
driver
moved
that
out
brought
of
it
your
home
channel.
2nd place here tonight. He will definitely cut into the advantage Supta was able to build on him for the last few weeks. Let's dial up Grant Wesley.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Grant's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Wow, wild race here tonight. Maybe not quite as wild for you, at least in the first half of the race. You spent a good portion of it out in front ahead of all the calamity that was going on in the mid-pack area, but started getting a little bit nerve-wracking there at the end. Close battling there with Jeremy Jeffries. The pinch down there on the front straightaway. Now, obviously, a lot of drivers, they'll get that tunnel vision when it comes to the end of the race. They want that checkered flag, but obviously you also are trying to run down Supta for that points lead. Now, great, we have the benefit of being up in the booth. We don't have the adrenaline rush and everything. We saw that Supta got shuffled out and was back around 6th, 7th position while you were battling for the lead. Little risky to be doing the pinching there. I mean, was that in the back of your mind at the points, or was it just checkered flag or nothing?
I think I was just seeing the checkered flag. Yeah, man, what a fun track. Um, it was really difficult. This track kind of reminds me of Michigan, the way that long front stretch kind of sweeps, and it's just so hard to defend. I mean, you get out front, the guys are gonna get a run on you, so you're just trying to get an edge on everyone around you in every way possible you can think of, and yeah, it was aggressive. I know at one point in the race, we really got jumbled up and we were like 3 wide for the lead, I think. I ended up on the bottom and had Jeremy behind me and pushed me through, but yeah, it was a ton of fun.
You talked about it being difficult to defend at this racetrack. Obviously, we could really tell drivers having difficulty as the tire heat built up, specifically in that right front, really getting tight through the center of the corner, off the corner. Was there any benefit to being out in front in terms of tire wear, or was it pretty much the same whether you were out in clean air or in dirty air?
I mean, the cars, they generally run tighter whenever you're behind somebody. I felt that effect a little bit here tonight, but it wasn't drastic, I wouldn't say. But yeah, it was all about that right front, keeping it cool. Um, I didn't really get a ton of practice, so like I didn't really test all the lanes out, but I ran the middle. I think that middle lane was probably the best place for me. Um, but yeah, if you just ran the bottom, if I ran the bottom and cooked that right front, man, the thing just wouldn't turn. So yeah, you had to kind of conserve the right front tire and keep your momentum up all at the same time.
Now, I don't know if we can necessarily call 3 races a winless streak, but after we saw you rack up back-to-back-to-back-to-back victories, kind of seems like a bit of a winless streak for you going back to that last victory at Lucas Oil Raceway. You were one spot shy of getting to victory lane here tonight, but we did see the 11 get involved in that last lap incident as well. You came in tonight 20 points behind him. We're waiting to find out what the gap's going to be going into the Southern National Motorsports Park next week. But with 2 races remaining and certainly going to be cutting into that 20-point gap by, I would say, a pretty sizable margin going into the upcoming race, what's the confidence level here in terms of the momentum to maybe still have a shot at this championship by the time the checkered waves at Walt Disney World Speedway?
Oh yeah, we definitely got some life in our championship hopes for sure. Yeah, like you say, I think Jeff ended up 15th. I got second. I think I may have led the most laps, so I think we're looking at about a 15 lap or 15-point gain on them. So it's definitely within one race reach. Yeah, we're gonna dig. I'm not quite sure what happened to Jeff. I mean, it sucks. I'm sure whatever it was, um, was unintentional, but yeah, it sucks for him. And yeah, we're gonna keep digging. We're gonna try to go after this thing.
Well, 2 races still to go as you look to fight for the championship here in season 66. Got an off week coming up here and kind of get a little bit refreshed, rejuvenated before you take the track at SNMP in a couple of weeks' time. Congratulations on the 2nd place run here tonight at Texas World. And before we let you go, we'll give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Yeah, I guess I suppose since we'll be off next week, I'll wish everyone now a happy Thanksgiving. Hope everyone has safe travels. I'd like to thank the owner here, Sean Prime, and the late David Cannon. I'd like to thank the admins here, Jeff and Ron. They do a great job with this league. FRN, thank you for taking time out for us, you and Jack. I'd like to thank my teammates with XFM, my friends and family for watching, and my girlfriend, Brittany.
Well, that's Grant Wesley. He cuts into the points lead here tonight with a runner-up finish at Texas World Speedway. He'll look to continue that momentum in a couple weeks' time. We go short track racing at Southern National Motorsports Park. Congratulations on the great run here tonight, Grant, and best of luck in these final 2 upcoming races.
Thanks, and congratulations to Jeremy on the win.
Indeed, and we will be now going down to Victory
User
Lane.
was
I
moved out of
believe
your
they've
channel.
towed that race car back to the Victory Lane area there after he took flight off the jump. Let's see if we can dial him up. 2-time winner on the season, Jeremy Jeffries.
User was moved to your
Hey, Jeremy, it's
channel.
the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Hey, 2 things. First off, welcome to the Multi-Win Club here in Season 66. Secondly, thank you, because we were saying whoever ended up winning this race, please take the jump at Victory Lane. So you did what we were hoping for. But man, a tight battle there in the closing stages. Side by side, maybe trading a little paint there with Grant coming around to 2 laps to go. You came into this race, I believe, 4th in the point standings. Not a whole lot to lose, a lot to gain. How much were you willing to risk? How much further were you willing to push it there as the 2 of you were door to door coming around to take that white flag?
I was just mostly here to have a fun race, and we accomplished that. I missed last week, and I'm not in it for the points with only 2 races to go, so I wasn't going to push it too hard with Grant. I definitely didn't want to take him out of the points because I know he's battling, and he's my teammate, so that would have been real dumb. But yeah, that was just fun, good, hard, clean racing, and I think he could have used those extra few points now, looking back to see how close he actually is to Jeff after the points were updated.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that here in a minute, but obviously it looked like you guys had your hands full out there tonight as well. Maybe a combination of the tight drafting, the speedway / super speedway type racing that we saw here tonight. Throw into that, it looked like some tremendous tire wear or some tire heat coming into play. We talked with Grant just moments ago, and he said that it caused it to be really difficult to defend at this racetrack. You were on the opposite end, having to mount offense to be able to get around him for the race lead and eventually the race win. How difficult was it on your side?
The draft on this track is tremendous. I could get right on his bumper and just push him around the track. I pushed him to the lead earlier, actually a couple times, and if I could stay right there on his bumper, he's right, it was hard to defend because anytime I wanted to, I could just pull out and at least get beside him. But the tire temp there in the corner made a big difference, how hot the tires were, whether you could drive it in there deep and keep it down or if you were going to push.
Obviously, 2 races still left to go in the season. Picking up your second victory here of season 66. Do you go into those 2 races kind of with the same mentality, have some fun, maybe see if you can get another checkered flag before season closes?
Well, first off, I have to see if I'm going to make them work. Might make that near impossible here with peak season coming up at UPS, but we'll see if I make them, and if I do, then I'm just going to come out here and, yeah, have some fun and see what happens. Maybe I can pick up 1 or 2 more if I can make them.
Well, there you go. Congratulations, Jeremy. A great win here tonight at the Texas World Speedway. We'll let you get back to your celebrating here in just a moment. But before we do, floor is yours for Victory Lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
First off, thanks to you all for doing the broadcast tonight. Gosh, it's gonna be fun to watch back. I got to see the field from every perspective. I was in the back, in the middle, in the front, in the middle, in the back. You know, I was everywhere, so I got to see all kinds of good racing. It was fun to be in the middle of, so it had to be fun to watch. Thanks to everybody at RTG, the owners, admin, staff, and drivers. Thanks to Grant. Congrats to Grant. You know, I think he just gained a ton of points, and I kind of screwed him out of a few more, so I feel bad about that. And, you know, thanks to Grant, my XFM teammates, everybody out there watching, and to Demar for getting the top 3 there. Good to see that.
Well, he may have been everywhere in the field, but he was up front when it mattered the most. Takes the checkered flag here tonight does Jeremy Jeffries. Second win in the season here this evening at the Texas World Speedway. Congratulations on a great run, a great victory. Go and enjoy it, and look forward to hopefully seeing you here in these final 2 races of the season.
Thanks. Good night, guys.
Jeremy Jeffries going to
User
join
was moved out
Grant
of your
Wesley
channel.
and Jeff Supta in the multi-win club here tonight. And you heard him allude to the fact that the gap closed up. It was 20 points, the difference from Supta to Grant Wesley coming into tonight. 3 races left to go in the season, 2 races left to go in a couple of weeks' time, and the gap has been closed down to single digits. 6 points separate those two with 2 races left to go.
This is going to be a war. I'm so looking forward to these last 2 races. Obviously, we're going to have the week off next week, so everybody can kind of step back, take a breath, maybe strategize a little bit if they want to for planning for what's going to happen over these next final 2 races. But once we get to the Wednesday, December 3rd, it's going to be all bets are off. The gloves are going to come off, and it's going to be crazy. So looking forward to seeing how these 2 settle it.
And we've been at all sorts of different racetracks this schedule, whether it be road courses, short tracks, speedways, super speedways. I mean, tonight could kind of be classified as both a speedway and a super speedway. But we go to a short track in 2 weeks' time. We go to a speedway at Walt Disney World for the finale. The thing that amazes me the most between Supta and Grant, they are so evenly matched statistically. 4 wins apiece. Both have 9 top 5s, and Grant only has the edge by 1, 10 top 10s to Supta's 9 going into these final 2 races. With it only being single-digit points, you know that more than likely these 2 are going to be in the same vicinity on the racetrack in these upcoming 2 races. It's going to be a heck of a battle.
It absolutely is. I'm kind of getting flashbacks to the 2021 Formula One season when you had Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen in that crazy tight points battle. This is what this is reminding me of right now, and it's been very, very fun to watch.
Battle's also closing up in the challenger points as well. Doug Cady able to close up a little bit of ground on Bobby Farrell. 14 points separate those 2 with 2 races left to go. So that might be something we'll be talking about when we get to the season finale at Walt Disney World Speedway as well. But again, as Jack pointed out to me, thank you for doing that. Otherwise, I'd have had people coming back for a broadcast that doesn't exist. We are going to be off next week, as are the Aero88 drivers. They will be coming back for the final 2 races of the season, starting at Southern National Motorsports Park. That will be December 3rd, and we'll bring you coverage of that at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time 2 weeks from tonight. The following week after that will be the finale, December the 10th at Walt Disney World Speedway. Again, next time you'll see us tomorrow night, simulcasting with Tarnation TV as we begin the round of 8 for Season 66's playoffs for the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. You're not going to want to miss out on that. It's been an incredible season up to this point, and it's only going to get better with 4 races left to go. And we close out the week this Saturday night with the Talladega Nights Shake and Bake Series Season 6, drawing close to the end of their regular season, the playoffs looming there as well. Thank you all for joining us here on your Wednesday evening. Congratulations once again to Jeremy Jeffries winning tonight at Texas World Speedway. For Jack Mitchell, I'm Seth Cole. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time to continue on the 66th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Aero88 series here on FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.